Hello and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Ultimate Formula. We're here for round 4 of TUF1 in Japan, and I'm joined tonight by Quinn. Quinn, good evening.
Good evening, man. It's good to be back after a short little break that I had. Might not be regular occurrence here, but it's good to be back here with you.
Yeah, it's great to have you back. You are having a visual glitch, so you can't actually see any of the names on the timing screen, which is great for us, but we'll work with it.
I've just seen Trunder's completely I'm not sure what happened there, but he just completely slammed his car whilst on a straight. I'm not sure what the reasoning was behind that, but completely slammed his car into the wall whilst going down the straight.
Oh, yeah, and he has got wind damage because he can't keep the car on the road at the moment. One of a number of reserves this evening, along with Josh, Mini Meerkat, and it's coming up with Sergio Perez. I'm sure that's Waitsy. It's coming up with Sergio Perez in a McLaren. This new
Maybe
update.
There's a driver transfer that we haven't heard of yet.
This new update may have caused a few stirs, but here we go. Stinner's the first one to start setting the fast lap, and he comes down the pit straight now. Nice and tight through two there. I think he's lagging a little bit. I'm hoping that's him, not me. Nice and clean so far through the S's. Yellow flags in sector 3 as everybody prepares for their laps. Of course, TUF2s have already done Japan in their calendar this year. How did you get on? Were you racing Japan, Quinn?
To be honest, I can't really remember. I've had so many league races in between from then and now. I think I did, but I can't actually remember.
So Stinner then. Dreamsy getting out of the way as he comes up the back stretch. I wouldn't call it a straight, it's not a straight, up towards 130R. It's been a pretty clean lap from Stinner so far.
Yeah, it's been very clean from him. See what time he can get at the end of it. He could have cut a last bit of the Casio triangle a little bit more. He gets a 129.4, it's decent lap for first lap of the session.
There we go.
A 129.1 for taking away the pole position. Showen goes across the line as well, getting a 129.8, putting himself in P3.
Bats puts himself into the P2 as well.
Oh, that's Bats. I think you're gonna just have to call everyone's names from here.
Yeah, I think that's probably smart. I don't know what's happened to Waitsy. I'm sure Waitsy was supposed to be reserving as well. So thankfully, Kachow's name's now being shown. Who's close to finishing? Julian's gone pole length provisionally with a 28.9. Steinzap's next across the line. Takes a white. Oh, okay. I'm not sure if he invalidated the first one, whether it was an outlap. So he takes a very wide line through the last corner. Let's have a look at Dreamsy.
Ooh, there's a Ferrari spun after Degner 2.
I can't see Waitsy now, sorry, he's in the Alpha. So is that Steinzap then, was it? I think he's the only Ferrari on those Postman as well.
Yeah, there's a Ferrari who spun after Degner 2.
Dreamsy across the line, goes P2. Oof.
Decent lap from Dreamsy there.
Go on, Dreamsy. Seeing massive improvements from him so far. Toma then. Along with, I believe it was Santero, currently in the top 10 of the time trial records. Of course, that is with the update now, with times being reset, but they're still there.
Toma did have a little bit of a moment coming out of the hairpin, which scrubbed off a little time for him, but still looks like he's going around solid. Looking at the tyres, there's only 3 people on the mediums, which is Stinzap. There's a McLaren and there's a Red Bull.
Yeah, so it's Eden, Boseman and Andy thus far. Toma then into the chicane. Take a nice tight line through the last corner, DRS activated, and he goes P2.
Good, solid lap.
So there's a couple of guys here who'll have Julian a little bit worried, I think.
Yeah, there's definitely. I know that Toma, this is quite a solid track for Toma in particular, so I think it's going to be going quite well and maybe further challenge for Julian. There's yellows in sector 2 for an Alfa Romeo who went round at the spoon gov.
Julian is going for another run, and he is improving so far. He's just under 10th up through sector 1. Let's have a look at the split time through sector 2. So yeah, almost 2/10 of an improvement. So this is going to be a statement lap then from Julian into the chicane. There's yellow flags all over the shop at the moment, and they quickly disappear through the last corner, nice and tight. DRS activated. He does a 28.7. Okay, so 3/10 to find them for Toma.
And Julian's done 3 laps on these softs.
Who's coming in? Is it Stinner maybe next, who's now slipped on a P9, or is it Mini Meerkat? Yeah. On board with Josh then, one of the reserves, as we said earlier. Eden's gone in and put mediums on, and Andy's Andy stayed with those mediums, and he's put a 29.3 in to put himself up in the P8.
This lap time it's invalidated. On P5. There we go. 129.1 on mediums.
Very good lap for Eden.
Solid lap.
Yeah.
Very solid lap for Eden.
So the gap then between Toma in second and Boseman in 12th is just 5/10.
Yeah, it just shows how competitive TUF1 is. Definitely just shows how competitive it is and how close everyone is at the moment.
Josh crosses the line, puts himself up to the P10. It's a great lap for the reserve. Who's next? Is that Sean next? No, it is Foxy, and he's starting his fast lap now, so stay on board with him. Keep an eye on the timing screen as well as other boys put their laps in. Still 4 drivers yet to put a lap in, including Stinzap, Waitsy, Trunders and Mini Meerkat.
Sean's just about to cross the line. Let's see what time he can put in. He puts himself up into P13 with a 129.5. A decent lap from himself.
Someone's had a trip into the gravel track because they've left markings of gravel all across the track at the moment. Foxy then, I think that was 3/10 improvement so far. Missed the split, but I think it was 3/10.
Yeah,
Comes up to the hairpin.
About 3/10. Yeah.
He's got a bit of traffic ahead of him.
Completely missed Kachal getting a 128.7, and I believe one of the Williams got a 128.8 as well.
Yeah, that's Bats. So Kuchow's showing a lot better pace this week than he did last week. Is Foxy going to try and get a slipstream here? He can't at the moment. There's another time gone in. Stinner goes up in the P5 to 29 flat. Oh, is Weavesy going to get in the way of Foxy here? No. So Weavesy's going to start his lap, is he? Yep. And Foxy goes P5. So we've seen some great battles between Foxy and Bats last week in Russia. Who's on a fast lap? Bossman's gone P3.
Yeah, Boseman's really been a surprise package for me this season from what I've seen of him. He's shown incredible pace.
Yeah.
And I believe he's currently sitting P2 in the Drivers' Championship.
Yeah. Boogeyman's gone for a spin. Just caught that on Weavesy's onboard. 2/10 improvement so far from Weavesy through Sector 1. So now it's 6/10 covering first all the way down to Josh in 14th, and Weavesy gets a tank slapper. And that's his time gone. He'll head straight back into the pits and put on a fresh set, no doubt. Andy's put on the soft tyre then, as has Eden. So both their times so far are on mediums. And that's almost 3/10 up so far for Andy through Sector 1. Ooh, it's a little bit of a wobble there on the oversteer out of the chicane. Out of the hairpin, sorry. It's very much a hairpin, not a chicane. Ooh, that's 6/10 improvement so far for Andy then. And as things stand, this is going to challenge for the upper echelons of this qualifying pack around the last corner, and Andy goes P1 with a 28.4.
Wow. Very solid lap from Andy there, and maybe worrying Julian a little bit. I think Toma had just finished a lap and he's on his in lap. And there's one other person who's currently on a fast lap at the moment. Stay on board with him.
I don't know if Wheaty's had a spin or something, because this is a pretty slow lap so far. He's coming straight back in, so Wheaty and Trunders then haven't yet set time. Wheaty, of course, won the TUF1 race after a late safety car, and he was a big beneficiary there. Showen's now started his third flying lap. Bats does well to get out of the way. Sean goes a bit wide and invalidates.
Oh, that's unfortunate for him.
That S section is so difficult. If you get your line slightly wrong through any corner, you are going to compromise the full sector.
Yeah, I'm sure that he will have enough. He will have enough fuel, and he can probably go on another lap on these softs. So if he chooses to do that, then I'm sure he'll have enough fuel.
Yeah, you'll definitely have enough fuel now they've taken the rich and max fuel mixes out. You can definitely get 2 flying laps in on the lower setting of fuel. It's on board with Trunders as he looks to set a flying lap. Ooh, gets close to validating,
Sticks
but
it to the inside, see where he goes, is 18th then. So Andy is just coming out of the pits now. Won't be any traffic for him. I think Mini Meerkat is the only person still in the pit, so he won't be doing the last lap, so he's going to be staying at least 17th. He won't go any lower than 18th, I believe, but Trunders is going for another lap and he is improving at the moment.
so Weavesy, I think, is the furthest along of the guys who are on their fast lap. Picks up a little bit of a tow from Foxy. It's currently improving by just over 3/10, and he will get another run in as well. And he pops himself up to P5.
Good lap. I think he may go for no, he's going for an in lap now, so highest he can be is P5, unless anyone gets a 5-place grid penalty at the moment.
Eden's crossing the line now, starting his lap. Who have we got next? Is that Dreamsy maybe? No. Andy starting his lap. Bats Plus maybe comes into the pits, so Bats won't improve on P6. Let's have a look at Kajau. Puts himself up in a P2, improves by 1/10.5. On board with Julian then, currently now down into P3, needs to find 3/10, he's found 2, needs to find another 10th on the chicane here to dislodge Andy. Looked a bit slow through the chicane, but he does get P1 with a 28.3. I'll shut my mouth, I have no idea what I'm talking about. Santero's come out of nowhere and put himself up in a P4. I don't think we've seen much of him through qualifying so far. Who's next across the line? Is it Foxy? Yeah. And he improves and he goes P4. Then I think we've got Stinner. No improvement from Stinner. Weavesy comes into the pits. Boseman now then. He stays 6th.
But it's not enough. See, Tomer is improving. Let's see what Tomer can do. Puts himself up into P7.
Okay.
And everyone else is finished.
So yeah, Andy doesn't bother.
Julian. Yeah, front row for Julian and Andy.
Yeah, so great lap there for Julian. I feel like the pressure was actually on there.
Yeah.
He'd been looking at how close those times were. Even finding himself down in P3 at one point. But yeah, gets himself yet another pole with a 28.3. Pips Andy by 0.5. There we go, Quinn. Would you like to take us through the qualifying order?
Oh yeah, I can definitely do that.
Can you still not see any names?
No.
Oh god, okay. So we got Julian then takes pole, Andy then P2, Kachao in P3, Foxy 4th, Santero 5th, Boseman 6th, Toma, Weavesy, Bats Plus and Dreamsy round off the top 10. Then we have Eden, Stinner, Stinzap, Waitsy, Josh, Sean, Boogeyman, Trunders and Mini Meerkat God rounds off the grid. So this is going to be an absolute nightmare for you through this race, but
Yeah.
we'll see what we can do. Can you see the names when you're on board?
No.
Oh God.
Like in the top right corner, I could only... In the top right corner now, I can only see about 7 names. So if it's anyone who I can see the names of, I'll be completely fine. Anyone else, I'm screwed. Even on like the pit boxes, like where it says the names above the pit boxes, it just doesn't say a name and it just says a number.
Oh God.
It'll be helpful for the AlphaTauris because at least I can say a number because it's on the halo.
Right then. So formation snap gets underway. What will your predictions be for this evening?
I'm gonna say I'm actually gonna go for a bold one. I'm gonna say Andy for the win.
Nice.
It seems ridiculous going against Julian, but Andy's showed really good pace and quality. Hopefully that he can transfer that over into the race. How about yourself?
Well, I don't like to bet against Julian, to be honest with you, especially when he's starting a P1 and following on from his performance last week, which was incredible. Came from the back to win in Russia. So I'd have to say Julian, to be fair. He started at the back, and by the end of lap 1 he was in P8.
I just find it really funny looking at this Aston Martin. It's got a JCB sponsorship on it.
It looks really nice in the game though, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's one of the nicest liveries in the game. I think, to be honest, I think the AlphaTauri is one of the nicest as well.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Even though it's literally just the livery last season, just the colours are flipped.
Interesting.
It's the same,
Sorry.
Same for Alfa Romeo as well. It's
yeah,
exactly the same, just the colours are flipped.
I did like the adjustments they made for the Italian Grand Prix with the green and the Alpha. Looked really nice.
Yeah, it looks really good.
Just quickly then, from 11th downwards, nobody starting on the softs. Eden Stins up, Josh, Sean and Boogeyman on the mediums. Waitsy, Trunders and Minimaker God are going for hards. Can't have 2 swap Monaco for Portimao. Absolutely not. The grid's already made up. And Portimao is already assigned for either season 2 or 3. We wait for the lights then. I'm getting a terrible broadcast camera angle, which is a shame. There we go. I'll have to go down to Kachow. Excuse me.
And there we go.
That's better.
Get on with Julian.
Okay, so lights out and away we go. Foxy gets a great start in P4. He's already alongside Kachow and he's got past Andy already. There's a collision there with Andy. Postman's got himself up to P3. Might get an early safety car already. Tom has jumped into P4. Bats in P5. Eden up to P6 already. Fantastic start for Eden, taking full advantage of that incident. He might take Bats here for P5. He does.
Trundles has gone wide. He's onto the gravel.
So
nearly collides with his teammate there.
A lot of change then going on early doors. We've got Waitsy going on the outside of Showan. There's a lot of ghosting going on there as well. But Andy then, now down in the P14 after having a terrible launch off the line. Stuck behind Mini Me Cat God, who's on the hard side. He's going to throw it up the inside.
It's a great move.
That is a great move.
Great move from Andy.
There is an awful lot of ghosting.
Yeah.
What's going on here? Because everyone's just... Well, collisions must be on, because Andy definitely took a spin. Am I right in thinking that?
Yeah, he collided with Kachal going into what was before even turn 1.
Nah, I'm not sure what's going on here, man. Everyone's ghosting. Andy's just taken 3 places rather easily.
I don't think they are actually ghosted.
Okay, so Foxy's managed to...
It shows that people are ghosted, but I don't think they actually are.
Okay, so we've got a VSC then. So if we have a look at the position changes, Foxy up 2, Boseman and Tom are up 3, Eden up 6 off the start, Bats up 3, Weavesy 1, Stin's up 5, Boogeyman 8, Andy down 8. So your tip for the race win, down 8 places off the start. Of course, he did lose more than that and has managed to recover a little bit. Sean's up 5, Waitsy's up 2, Josh up 2, Kachow down a massive 11 as well. So I wonder if it was Kachow and Andy then that actually made contact with each other.
Yeah, it was. It was before they even got to turn 1. They collided with each other.
Yeah, and they it looks as though they collected Santero as well. Stinner, Dreamsy also got caught up in that because it's a 13 place deficit for Santero as well. But I was watching Foxy start, compounded really by the bad start Andy had. Foxy had such a great launch. She was right up alongside Kachow before they'd even crossed the line. And that is the VSC over. And Julian already 2.7 seconds down the road.
So DRS is enabled now. Boogeyman gets moved down, I believe.
Yeah. I think that was retaking that position because he was ahead of Andy.
Boogeyman takes a little bit of a wide line, but he stays ahead of Andy, I believe that is.
Yeah, and Kachow's out.
Oh.
And that is in sector 1. That's through the S section. Try and catch her on board with Stinner if we can.
His bad luck just continues.
And we do have another VSC. Let's see if we can find where Kachow's lost it here. Ah, it's on the outside. Okay. On the inside, sorry.
I think he must have gone on to the outside curve of turn 1.
Yeah,
and just completely just got the power down too early and just spun.
Yeah. The softs don't last too long here, so I wonder if anyone will be tempted to make a quick stop under the VSC. Not anymore, because VSC's now ended. And Foxy's managed to cut the gap to Julian there. Horseman with DRS. Not quite close enough to make a move and makes a mistake as well. And we're already seeing a gap between Bats and Eden in the top 5. Eden beautifully placed here. And Andy did get himself past Boogeyman as well.
It does look like there's a little bit of a DRS train forming here. Behind, I believe that is Foxy.
Yeah.
which on this game, you know what DRS trains are like. Unless someone makes a major mistake, it can stay like this for the whole race.
Yeah, and as we found with the TUF2 race as well, of course we know with Japan there's only really one overtaking spot, and if you can defend down into turn 1, you can pretty much keep the place throughout the rest of the track. But Boseman looking a lot closer this time round, just behind Foxy. Foxy could be in a bit of trouble, yeah. He gets a nice exit out of the chicane. And again, he's too far back, Boseman, to make a move.
I mean, someone to definitely look out for in this race is Waitsy. He's the highest runner currently on the hards, and he's gonna be going on. He's probably gonna be doing a hard soft strategy. So by the end of the race, he could be right up there in top 6, or top 7, top 6.
Yeah. He's got Josh on his tailpipe though, and of course the safety car could completely ruin his strategy. Unless, of course, we get it later on when he's gone much longer on those tyres. Back on board with Boseman.
Julian set another fastest lap, and he's just extending this gap back to Foxy. It's currently 3.6 seconds at the moment, but Boseman has a little look down the inside. He gets alongside Foxy. Foxy has the inside line, but Boseman's still in there, but eventually Foxy gets clear, but it was a great battle through the first couple of corners. Oh, he gets so close to his rear end as well.
It's not over yet, and Tom and Eden are still there as well. But yeah, well defended from Foxy.
It's a great battle for P2 at the moment, and all this battling between these 4 drivers is just helping Julian out so much.
How did he keep that position?
He's kept it going though.
Wow, man. He's going to be under pressure though from Toma coming up the backstretch. Toma gets a nice exit, but has to lift off. That frees Foxy up a little bit.
We have a little train forming behind Andy as well. Fight for P9. We have both Boogeyman and Showen behind him. They're still currently... Boogeyman is hanging on to the DRS of Andy, so if he can use this to propel himself more
Boseman.
towards Andy.
Boseman puts up the inside, but he loses it on the curb. Oh, and there's a little bit of a wobble there for Toma. Eden can't capitalise. But yeah, Boseman, the warning signs were there the lap before. I think his tyres are absolutely gone. I think you can tell that by the fact that Boogeyman's keeping on at the back of Andy. These soft runners are now compromised. Boseman falling down to P8, and Foxy still remains up in the P2.
Toma is closing the gap a little bit. Meerkat has left the session for now, but gotta say, Eden's in a good position here. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is Eden in P4.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's in a great position here. Just he's the highest runner on the mediums, even though he does have 7.5 second gap. There is yellows. And I believe that's Andy who's round in the spoon curve.
Okay, Andy's round. Eden, of course, as well, of this, the guys in this battle, has the best ERS levels as well. Toma, though, as Stins up gets past Weavesy, let's have a look if Toma can make a move. Looks as though this is going to be an easy one for Toma into the slipstream. TRS activated. And that's Toma up in the P2. We've got Bats and Boastman coming in then. They're the first of the front, or the soft runners, to make a stop. Andy's in as well. Boastman puts on hards. Bats goes for mediums. And so does Andy. Interesting.
Maybe they think, I'm not sure if the mediums can go about 20 laps, I believe it is. I don't think they can go 20 laps as it is.
No, it's a stretch.
So maybe they're trying, maybe they think a two-stop has better overall pace than going on to the hards. Because the first, I'd say, 4 or 5 laps of the hard stint is probably the worst tyre you can ever be on, but towards the middle and the end, it turns into quite a good race tyre.
They could be gambling on a safety car as well.
But just on board with Toma at the moment, I saw they set up purple sector 1, let's see what he can do in sector 2. It isn't purple, and he is down by 3 attempts, so if it was a fastest lap attempt, it won't be going through at the moment. It's 7.5 seconds back to Julian. Julian's just, I should have taken your advice not to bet against Julian because he's just running away with this.
Yeah, Foxy, not close enough. Looks to see if there's a gap there through turn 1, but there isn't. And Stins up as well is very well positioned. He's made his way through, now up into P5 after getting past Weavesy. And yeah, it'd be interesting to see what these medium runners do, whether they just go a little bit longer on the mediums and fit the hards, or whether they try and do a one-stop medium soft, which it's a risky one for me.
Yeah, it's very risky, but something I just want to point out quickly is Wakesy and Trunders are both in 10th and 11th, and they're still on the tyres that they started on. They're still on the hards. So, like I said about Wakesy earlier on, now with Trunders there, both of them could be in quite good positions come the end of the race. You've got Eden, he's still getting very, very close to the back of Foxy, in the same Foxy on Toma. See how he takes the Casio triangle chicane. Very, very nice from both of them. Toma elects to come into the pits, and Foxy and Julian elect to go for an extra lap.
Yeah.
Do you think that he can get the undercut on both of them?
Who, Toma?
Yeah.
Well, he was ahead anyway, so he definitely should come out ahead of them both with a fresh set on. He's gone for mediums as well, so I think Toma should be able to pull out a bigger gap here. What? Ooh.
He's just spun going around
Toma.
inside of turn 1.
No.
You've got to be really careful on these mediums as you come out of the pits, because they're still not up to temperature and they're still going to be quite raw.
And he'll be looking in his he'll be looking in his rear view mirrors fairly soon to see the fastest guy on the track at the moment, Andy, coming up behind him. Right, so that's great news for Foxy then. Wait a minute. No, never mind, sorry. I thought we'd lost somebody there. So do we expect Foxy then to come in now? Julian's in.
Yeah, I believe Foxy will come in, because seeing that spin from Toma, he's going to capitalise on the opportunity to come out in P2, or
Yeah.
net P2. But Eden inherits P1 on the track, which is great for him. And of course, he started on these mediums, and it's going to be great.
So
Hopefully, he's going to have the pace.
Weavesy stayed out. He's currently in the DRS range as things up, so maybe that's his thinking there. He's been pulled along a little bit. Sean's now into P4, Boogeyman P5, Josh is 6th, and he's quite close behind Boogeyman. Julian's come back out in 7th, and Foxy's come out behind Waitsy, but ahead of Bats. Tom has managed to get himself past Boseman as well, so...
Yeah, Thomas behind Trunders at the moment, so he's quite a long way behind. But saying this, Bats has got himself up into a net P3.
Yeah.
Of course, his mediums are 2 laps older than... Well, 1 lap older than Thomas. But it's going to be really interesting to see how Toma takes this, because he's nearly within DRS of Trunders. Trunders is, well, nearly 1.5 seconds behind Bats. So if Toma can clear him, well, we've just seen Julian overtake
Josh.
So who this? Yeah, he's just overtaken him around the outside of 130R, which is definitely not an overtaking spot.
To be honest, Julian looked like he had a rocket in his car in comparison. I think Boogeyman giving his teammate a nice slipstream. And he's already up in the P5. Weavesy stayed out again, by the way, as Toma does set the fastest lap and gets himself past Trunders.
I think we've got a little bit of friendships going on here. You see Boogeyman letting Julian through, and you see Trunders letting Toma through. A little bit of friendships going on here.
It's disgusting, to be honest.
It's all about the pure racing.
Julian now reining in, showing for P4. As Andy picks up a time penalty.
Yeah, that's unfortunate for Andy.
And loses a couple of spots as well, Stinner and Dreamsy, so I'm not sure what's happened to Andy there. Maybe had a trip to the grass or something. Boseman and Trunders are side by side. Terrible camera angle.
It doesn't look like he has any wing damage as it is for Andy.
Oh, Trunders. Sorry. Trunders wasn't giving that position up lightly there, but Boseman does get it done. Weavesy's into the pits. Ghostman, yeah. Everyone's ghosting tonight, I don't know what's going on. Julian sets fastest lap to 130.7. Oh, he's going to have to stay behind Showan though. Oh, and he's gone for a spin. Oh no. He got really close to Showan. Coming into turn 1, he had to slam on the brakes, and he's gone on the accelerator way too early. And he's gone for an absolute spin as a big one as well. He's lucky not to retire the car.
He's lucky that he stayed ahead of Foxy as well.
Yeah. But that's blown this wide open. A safety car now would make everything really interesting.
Yeah, looking at the gap to the leader that he's got, he's 17 seconds behind Eden. So it's nearly a pit stop behind. I think at the moment, Eden is in a net P3. Looking at the time gaps, maybe it's 20-25 seconds for a pit stop. If it's towards the 25 seconds, he's going to come out very close to Bats. So he's going to be in a net P3, P4 here.
He needs to get... If he's going to put the hards on, he probably would want to pit in the next couple of laps just to get out in front of Toma at least.
I think he may be trying to extend it and go for softs, but we've seen how much the softs drop off. With the likes of Boseman taking multiple spins.
Well, Weavesy took them what, 11 or 12 laps, but he's paid for that because he's now down into P30 and he's got to get through half the field.
Yeah. It's something to look out for. The gap is reducing from Eden to Bats. It's reduced by about half a second since I last mentioned it, so maybe the medium tyres are starting to feel it a little bit.
Of course, they are 13 laps old now, the top 5. And we're getting to the point where if it's not hard tyres now, it's definitely going to be a long stint and soft to the end. But obviously they're going to be so slow now in comparison to the guys behind them that they're going to find themselves quite far back, I think, on the track.
Yeah, I do think Eden's trying to extend this stint, but Toma, so unfortunate that he picks up a 3-second time penalty. And will only drop him down one position behind Bats at the moment, but it's a crucial position for whether he can get a podium or not.
Yeah. So we've seen Toma, we've seen Julian all go for spins, we've seen Bosman go for a spin.
We've seen Andy go for multiple spins.
Yeah, Kachow too. Dreamsy, of course, got caught up in an early spin.
See Dreamsy getting overtaken. This is just set up by Andy. This is a great move through turn 1.
Dreamsy gets
on
himself
the back.
past Trundles as well.
The back of, not sure who this house is, but he is on the back of him. Stinner, I think it is.
Stinner's on the back of Trundles. Yeah.
There's still a little bit of a train forming here, starting with Trundles, and then it's Stinner, then Andy, Dreamsy and Santero. Dreamsy is just outside of the DRS. Oh, Dreamsy going out of the hairpin. He got on the power too early, lost track, or too late. No, too early, yeah, I'm right. Lost traction a little bit. And he went for a little half spin, but that was just enough to let Santero through. But they have lost DRS range as Andy goes down the inside of Stinner, and they're getting ever closer to the back of Trundles. Maybe this is the opportunity that Andy needs to resurrect his race, getting past Trundles. But there is a sizable gap to wait. No, that's not wait to see. Wait till P7.
Yeah, Trundles goes. The next up is Weavesy, by the way.
Yep, Weavesy.
Trundles weren't really defensive, but Andy gets the move done. Still keeping Stinner behind though. And as you said, yeah, Weavesy's next up the road. And he's got a bit of a gap either side of him now. Weavesy down in P12.
Toma is getting close to the back of Foxy.
Yeah.
And if he wants to make the most of this 3-second penalty he's got, he's going to have to clear Foxy and just try and extend the gap as much as he can. He will be looking to try and take these mediums to the end possibly, but he's still got about 11 laps left. He's got just over 11 laps left on these as Trundles goes for a spin at Spoon Curve once again. Doesn't look like he has any damage on his front wing.
Boogeyman's in for softs. I was going to say, add the 11 laps onto these medium tyres and you get what the front runners are currently on.
Yeah.
So they are proving that these mediums can last a big stretch of the race. Boogeyman then comes back out in P13. Santero gets past Stinner as well. We did see Boogeyman on the back of Josh, so this early pit stop will give him the opportunity for the undercut.
Yeah, just looking back at the gap from Eden down to, I believe that is Bats, it's still about 24 and a half, 25 seconds, so he hasn't actually lost much time, even though Bats' tyres are half as worn. So it's just showing that Eden has been really pushing on. As he comes into the pits now, let's see.
I'm expecting all the top 4 now to come in. Stinzap comes in as well, showing through the chicane.
See if Showen comes in.
He stays out.
Showen stays out.
As does Josh then, so...
So Showen inherits the lead on track with Julian. Is about 2.5 seconds back from Josh. Wavesy's into P4.
So importantly for Eden then, he gets out just behind Foxy but ahead of Toma.
Yeah. So he has inherited, so he's P3 on track.
He's net P2, but he'll get past Foxy surely for P2. Oh!
You gotta be careful on the new tyres, guys.
Yeah.
Seen it multiple times, people spinning, we have yellow flags.
I think that's Postman again. It is. Stinzap incidentally come out into P9, he's just behind Bats. So it's a 4-man battle then, or 5-man battle, will probably decide the final 2 podium places. And will Showen and Josh come in this time? I'm sure they will, because Julian reins them in. I'd expect maybe Waitsy to come in as well. And the top 2 do come in then, so Julian back out into the lead. And Waitsy dives in as well.
Yeah, Waitsy's in as well. Waitsy's going to be coming out. He's going to be coming out, I reckon, towards the back.
Eden with DRS, his ERS levels, by the way, are considerably higher than the guys around him, Eden.
Yeah, Waitsy's going to come out just behind Stinner.
Yeah,
so it was a promising strategy from Waitsy, but it just didn't end up working out for him.
No. Boogeyman, incidentally, by pitting that much earlier, has managed to jump both Showen and Josh. Josh as well has lost out to Santero just by going an extra lap. So, great decision from Boogeyman.
So with Toma's 3-second time penalty, he could be dropping behind. I believe that's it's really confusing because
Bats is currently in P6.
Both Ferraris have got number 8 and I can't see their names, it's so confusing.
Dreamsy's out. And we got a safety car, wow.
So Eden is in a great position.
Yeah, that's really unfortunate
Eden's
for potentially the likes of... and Julian's in.
Julian's in. Trunders has got a 3-second time penalty there.
Foxy's in as well, so yeah, Eden's going to inherit the lead. Thomas coming in. Stinzap will take over in P2. Bats is in as well. Weavesy stays out. Andy's in. Boastman's in. Boogeyman stays out, yeah.
Going to stay out. So Showen, so...
We'll wait and see where these boys filter in. So yeah, Showen's up in a P6, Boogeyman P5, Julian's out in P4. Weavesy's in P3 with Stinzap and Eden the top 2. Waitsy now in a P9, so he's jumped Toma as well. This has been really unfortunate for Toma. He's now down in P10 with a 3-second time penalty. Wow. Incidentally, seeing Weavesy on those mediums, we did see Snarfia, I believe it was, in TUF2. He got done with a late safety car, but remained out on his medium tyres when everybody else pitted for softs, and he held his own.
Yeah, I think Julian's in a great position to challenge for the race win again after, well, his little spin, which ruined it a little bit, but it was in race lead, but being P4 and having a safety car, definitely you'd imagine he'd have a very good chance at jumping Weavesy here. I think he's got a great chance in this. And
don't rule a guy out of P1 though. We've seen his pace on the medium tyres in qualifying. I don't think he had his best lap on a soft run, but his strategy today's been fantastic. He's shown some great pace on the medium tyre.
So in theory, his pace on soft should be even better.
Mm-hmm.
Can we just take a second to admire this Aston Martin safety car up front, recently added today in the patch?
Interesting.
It's a very nice car there.
It does look very nice.
Of course, it's got the Aston Martin green on it with the, I don't even know what colour that is. I guess it's like a lime green, yellow accents on it.
Yeah,
But yeah, recently added with the patch today. It's only got a select few tracks that it's going to be coming out on, whereas previously the Mercedes safety car covered all of the tracks. So I guess there's some points there for Codemasters, keeping it realistic with the safety cars. That's about it for the realism in the F1 game this year.
Well, with the performance update, we might see the game improve a little bit. Of course, there's still the issue with how bad the curbs are.
Yeah. And of course there is the handling model to be coming out next month with Imola. So hopefully that will help the sliding in the slow speed corners we've been seeing.
And then
of course in November we have the Jeddah track coming out, or as I like to call it, the Spoon.
Yeah.
And that will also have the current season of F2 cars coming into the game.
Well, yeah, as expected, when EA took over, we were going to get extra content. Of course, we are still living in COVID times, so we can't really tell how much of this is impacted by COVID and how much of these updates and extra tracks and cars we'll get in future. But it's promising signs. It's something that fans have cried out for a number of years, and it's great to see. We get 3 extra tracks, which is great.
And then in the next game, we'll have another new track with Miami coming on.
Yeah. Safety car is in then. Eden, I'm sure, will hold the pack up for as long as possible to minimise the run down into turn 1.
Oh, there's been a spinner. The spinner.
And Eden's gone then, and he's caught Stins up napping. And Julian also gets right up the back of the Weavesy and drops Boogeyman as well. Sean might be in for a chance here around the outside.
Oh, so
Julian side by side.
The two of them.
Julian gets up to P3. Boogeyman remains in front of Sean.
Julian nearly loses it at the last part of the Suzuka S. Very, very nearly loses it. See a move by Andy on Bats, I believe. They're side by side going into hairpin.
And Bats keeps the position.
And he is using his ERS, and he is in the slipstream of Bats, so it's not a very clever place to try and go for a move, and he thinks better of it. Let's see if he can get any closer down the straight that's not really a straight.
Julian smashing a lot of his ERS here to try and minimise that gap towards Eden. Boogeyman gets himself past Weavesy.
Foxy goes for a mega dive bomb on Josh, and he gets it done going through the Cassia triangle.
Yep, showing us Weavesy in his sights now.
Right on the back. Thinks better of a lunge around the outside. It's probably one of the hardest corners to go around the outside at. See Toma getting a move done on the Waitsy, so now Waitsy drops down to P10, but he gets, he has a little bit of a look round the outside of Toma, but he is still in P10. We have Josh right on the rear of Foxy.
And Andy gets past Bats.
Oh, I'm not sure what's happened here, but I think it was Stinzap, I think this is. He's dropped down.
Yeah.
3 places from P2 down to P5, and Weavesy gets past. We see Bats getting a move done on Santero. All the action is happening right now.
The Bats did drop down a couple of places though. Bats lost positions there to Boseman and Andy, so I'm unsure if there was contact. There was yellow flags at the time, but that could have been for, like you said, Stinzap.
Sector 1, and I believe that's Stinner again. He's going very slow.
1.7 the gap now between the top two. Julian, of course, clear now of Stinzap. And we got Stinzap throwing one on the outside of Weavesy, and Showan's looking very interested as well. They're side by side as they come through the last corner. Can Showan get it done this time? We've got another side by side battle just behind Foxy and Toma. Showan then. Give me a nice angle, come on. Showan gets the move done. And he's up in a P5. Weavesy falling back down the order with these medium tyres. Waitsy and Toma managed to get past Josh there in that exchange.
Oh, there's a spinner, it's Andy again.
Ugh. So that's Andy's race then well and truly over. This battle for the points though, still to play for. And I'm telling you what, there's still an absolute chance for a podium here from anyone down from P3 to P13. Oh, and Julian's retired. Julian's retired.
Oh.
Wow.
I'm not sure whether it was contact or what, but
I don't think he was close enough.
Oh, there's another spinner.
That's Boseman, I think, yeah. And Boseman reset to track, so you will be receiving a penalty for that.
All of the action in the last 5 laps. So unfortunate from Julian.
Foxy puts the move on Waitsy.
Race wins.
Oh, Waitsy getting the chicane. He's going Bordeaux. Let's have a look where the gaps are. Thomas close to Weavesy now. Weavesy though, of course, with DRS off Showan. Thomas gets a nicer exit out of turn 2. Has to remain in P6 for now. That 3-second time penalty really is going to hurt Tomac up the end of the race.
Yeah, he's gonna be dropping back behind Trunders as it is. But I think he will manage to stay ahead of Trunders, but that's still only in P12. He will have to really start pushing on and try and get past Weavesy here as we see another yellow, and I think that's
Boseman.
Boseman, who's out. All of the action that's happening now in this DRS train that is just formed behind Showan.
Yeah. So
we will get DRS at the end of this lap, I believe.
Just over 2 laps. They had DRS in the last lap as well, I believe. I'm pretty sure that some of the guys had DRS. Thomas looking very racy behind Weavesy.
Oh,
they're going side by side.
The Casio triangle, go for a dive late, braking really late. But he gets the move done, he's still there. Of course, there isn't any DRS, but Weavesy does have a little bit of an advantage on the ERS front, but Toma, he does have the outside line. Weavesy has the inside line.
Oh, he's gone for a spin. Weavesy's gone as well.
Was that contact?
I don't think so. I didn't see anything. 2 laps remaining. Eden just, 5 seconds is the gap to Boogeyman in second. He's got Stinzap breathing down his neck, Showen holding his own in P4. Toma then in 5th with a 3-second time penalty hanging over him. Foxy just behind him. Then comes Waitsy. Then comes Josh. Then Bats in P9. Santero P10. That might be a point scorer settled for this evening. Trunda's then just a little bit further behind in P11 with a penalty himself. Weavesy, one of 5 guys since the restart who've taken a big spin. And that's Stinner that takes a 10-second time penalty. I think Stinner's going to come in to retire. So we had Julian, Boastman, Stinner, Andy and Weavesy all go for a spin since the restart. Oh no, Sean gets a time penalty.
That's gifted it to Foxy there.
And he's just got into DRS range as well of Stinzap, man. That's so unfortunate. Could have been on for a podium tonight. He's going to end up dropping down a couple of places. But he should still score some points. And Josh puts a move on Waitsy.
Wow.
Waitsy's going to fight it back though.
Very close. There is DRS enabled.
And Stinzap's got past Boogeyman.
Oh,
I'm going to miss it all. Waitsy and Bats. Bats gets a lovely exit out of turn 2, and there's Santero going into the wall.
I believe Weavesy going round the last corner is DNF'd as well.
Yeah, Weavesy's lost it as well. Santero without the front wing. Stinner's carried on going, by the way. Santero no wing, and he's managed to keep going as well. Trunders is now in P10, so he's on for maybe some points. Waitsy's fallen down at P9. We've got Bats in behind Josh in 8th. We've got Foxy then still behind Toma, who's reined in Sean a little bit. And I tell you what, had Sean not picked up that time penalty, he could be on for a podium here, because he's really got the gap down to the top 2.
But looking at the pace that Toma's got, he's really closing up to Sean at the moment. Closing speed of Toma is amazing. He's filling the gap between himself and Foxy, and he's just deploying his ERS. There's another 3-second time penalty.
There's not going to be enough time though for any of these guys. As Eden comes across the line and wins in Japan. Fantastic win for Eden. Sets the fastest lap as well. Stinzap, fantastic result for him as well. Boogeyman comes on at P3. Foxy gets 4th. Josh for TUF2 gets 5th. Bats home in 6th. Showen then with that 3-second time penalty comes home in 7th. Toma with his 3-second time penalty gets 8th. Waitsy comes home in 9th, and Trunders gets the final point. Fantastic from Trunders. Andy then, after multiple spins, qualified P2 at a terrible start, finishes P11, what could have been for Andy, and Santero limps home to become the final finisher. What a race, Quinn.
Yes. It was all happening in the last 5 laps. Everyone spinning, including Julian, but driver of the day on the game is Boogeyman. He had an excellent race. He eventually helped out Julian in the last stages by letting him pass, letting him go into clean air, but it wasn't to be for Julian. His 3 winning streak ends here at Suzuka.
I'll have to disagree with the game, as we have another Old Dutch podium. My driver of the day is the guy on the top step, Eden. Fantastic strategy. Took those mediums a long time. Came in for the softs, and then the safety car came out, and his strategy worked perfectly. Took the fastest lap as well on the final lap. Eden takes your win in Japan. Stinzap, fantastic result for him, and Boogeyman in P3. Foxy then P4s. We have an Old Dutch top 4. Josh comes home in P5. Bats plus in 6th. Show in 7th. Tom 8th. Waitsy 9th. Trunders gets the final point. Andy and Santero round off the finishers Stinner, Weavesy, Bossman, Julian, Dreamsy, Kachow, and Mini Meerkat God all retired. Fantastic race. Well done to Eden for the victory. Quinn, who was your driver of the day?
Driver of the day, ooh, it's a tough one. I'm gonna have to say Boogeyman. I'm agreeing with the game here. I'm gonna have to say Boogeyman, starting 17th from a grid and ending up on a podium, only 1.2 seconds behind Stinzap in second. It's a great performance by him.
Yeah,
it's a fantastic performance.
Yeah, agreed. Boogeyman with a great result there. I am just a little bit biased though with Eden taking the win. And that's it. That's it for us, guys, from TUF1. Join us on Wednesday for TUF2, who are at Austria. If you want to come back and join us.
Might be a special guest appearance racing on Wednesday, you never know.
Oh, there we go. We remain to be seen. Feeling that, guys, we are back here on Monday with the Netherlands for TUF1. So we'll see you down the road sometime. Take care. Bye-bye.